In a recent profile on CNN's new head, Chris Licht, they get into a discussion about CNN making some decisions that were curious to say the least. Now, Chris Licht kind of wants to move away from aggressively criticizing Donald Trump all the time. He wants to bring CNN to a more centrist role. And as a result, he has made some decisions that he himself will admit were poor decisions, to say the least. We're gonna get to the Trump town hall in a moment, but before we do, I thought that this excerpt from the piece was telling. A few weeks into Chris Licht's tenure, Licht instructed his producers to downplay the first hearing of the January 6th committee, an event that MSNBC treated like a primetime special, earning monster ratings that infuriated the CNN staff. Licht expressed regret to some top editorial personnel the day after the hearing. Now look, I get that most of the emphasis is on the need for ratings. MSNBC did so well with ratings because they decided to cover it. But let's keep it real. Donald Trump attempting to overturn the results of our democratic process was a serious act, and his involvement was very obvious, and a lot of Americans on the right didn't believe it. Those hearings, I honestly didn't think they were gonna be great. I didn't have much faith in them, but they were revealing, they were interesting. I learned a lot by watching the hearings. Deciding against covering the hearings is weird to me, to say the least.
Yes, so look, some parts of the piece I thought they're trying to do this false equivalency, false balance, etc. And some parts I thought, no, they're just right wingers.
Yeah, totally. I felt the same way. Yeah.
And this is one of those moments. And remember, Licht is a proxy for Zaslav, who actually runs the bigger company, Discovery Warner. And Zaslav is in some ways a proxy for John Malone, who's the biggest shareholder. Now, John Malone is very much a Republican. Zaslav certainly appears to be a Republican with everything he says. And it appears from this piece that Zaslav is constantly calling Licht and making him go further and further towards the right wing and towards Republicans. So in this instance though, it didn't seem like a mistake in false equivalency. It seemed like an active decision to go towards Trump and the Republicans.
Speaking of Trump, the piece also shed some light on what was happening behind the scenes, both prior to and after Trump's town hall, the one where Caitlin Collins was steamrolled by Trump, that led to a lot of controversy. According to the piece, Licht had come to view the primetime town hall event with Trump as the moment that would vindicate his pursuit of Republican viewers, while proving to his employees that he possessed a revolutionary vision for their network and the broader news media. Trump had other ideas, and I think we saw that happen in real time. So Trump was the heroic brawler, loathed by the establishment, loved by the masses, trying to reclaim a title wrongfully taken from him, while Collins standing in for the villainous elites who dared to question the protagonist's virtue, was cast as the heel. Now, that was the perspective of the very Republican voters that Chris Licht was trying to persuade to come watch CNN. Like, it's a new CNN, we're gonna be far friendlier to you, far fairer to you. So get a load of this town hall that we're doing with Donald Trump. But the way the town hall was conducted, the way it all came out, actually ended up reinforcing what right-wing voters already felt about CNN. Because of course, Caitlin Collins, to her credit, was trying to do her job in real time by fact-checking him. And simply by fact-checking him, Republican voters felt, you see that? Establishment media working against Trump, working against the right wing. That's how it came across.
Again, every assumption here is wrong, okay? Because they say, you either have to challenge Trump even more aggressively, but I don't, to be fair to her, I don't know that she could have been any more aggressive than she was. That wouldn't have solved it. The other option is, hey, we should never allow Trump on television. Who are you kidding? He's running for president. He's the leading candidate on the Republican side. He's a former president. I mean, saying we shouldn't platform him on giant stations like CNN is basically saying, no, we're gonna do censorship of the Republican nominee. That's insane, you can't do that, right? Now, I know that tons and tons of people are used to how, in my opinion, corrupt media is, so they don't find that to be an outrageous thing to say at all. They're like, what do you mean? Let's do what we do with progressives, just ban them, never allow them on air. and the problem is solved. The problem is not solved. The anger grows and grows and grows. There is a correct answer. It's the one they never consider. You should have Trump's town hall, and yeah, it's a Republican audience. That's because he's running in the Republican primary. And then you should have town halls with many other people. And when you have it with a corporate Democrat like Joe Biden, you should be super aggressive in questioning him. How come you said the public option but never proposed it? How come you said the $15 minimum wage but then had the 2 Delaware senators vote against it? You could challenge Biden just as aggressively, but they would never do that.
Now, CNN just had a town hall with Nikki Haley. Noticed that it didn't get as much attention, not even close to the town hall that was held with Donald Trump. But it does seem that CNN is going to have more of these town halls moving forward. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of give credit for that. But I do think that the line of questioning is very important, right? And so are they going to be as aggressive with all the other candidates, including the Democratic candidates? Should they have town halls with them? We'll see.
One more quick thing about that. Look, they keep talking about putting on jerseys, not putting on jerseys, but based on whether you're asking a tough question of Donald Trump or letting him slide. No, you put on a jersey when you say no progressives are allowed, only corporate politicians are allowed, okay? So where's Marianne Williamson's town hall? So right now she's the only progressive in the race, right? So I'm not saying you got to vote for Marianne Williamson, but should we not hear her out?
I want to hear her out.
Yeah. So where's her town hall? Because they think like, no, we're not going to do town halls of people we consider to be outsiders. No, only insiders. And then Trump's an outsider, but he was president, so that makes him an insider by definition. Machine broken, does not compute.
Right.
And that's why we're in this mess.
And remember, Licht wants to attract Republican viewers. Trump is the head of the Republican Party, which is why that was the first town hall they did. And in the aftermath of that town hall, Licht knew this was bad, very, very bad. Republicans were angry at CNN, Democrats were angry at CNN, journalists were angry at CNN. The only one who wasn't angry, it seemed, was Trump, most likely because he'd succeeded in disgracing the network on its own airwaves.
I shed no tear about that.
Yeah.
They should be disgraced, not by Trump, but by the fact that they are in favor of the status quo. They take corporate positions and then call them objective. They are fundamentally deceptive in their so-called news gathering and presentations. So if they actually did the actual news, then I'm on their side and let's go and let's challenge everybody at once, okay? But they don't do that, so they should be embarrassed. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.